Yorkshire house prices in 2026 are doing something interesting. While major cities across the UK keep pushing higher, parts of Yorkshire are listing flats and family homes at figures that feel unexpectedly reasonable. Not abandoned shells, not countryside ruins, just normal, everyday properties priced lower than many people assume. And the thing about Yorkshire is that the pricing isn't uniform. Some postcodes have surged, others have barely moved. That gap is where the opportunity sits. In this video, we're looking at flats and houses across Yorkshire that are shockingly affordable right now. Real listings, real prices, and some of them might genuinely change how you think about buying in 2026. First property. All right, let's start with the first one. We're heading to Scarborough on Albion Road, where a one-bedroom ground floor flat is sitting at a guide price of £100,000. At that price, you might picture something basic, but this flat is set within a Grade 2, listed building close to the Esplanade, so you're getting period character rather than plain white walls. The living room measures over 15 feet in length and features a large bay window that fills the space with light. There's a fireplace and original detailing that give the room a bit of weight. It doesn't feel temporary. The kitchen runs just over 13 feet long, fitted with modern units and tiled splashbacks. It's practical and well laid out without feeling cramped. The bedroom is properly sized and includes an original Art Deco stained glass window feature, which adds personality you simply don't find in newer builds. Then there's a separate office room. Not huge, but dedicated. For remote work or quiet study, that extra room makes a noticeable difference in a one-bedroom flat. The bathroom is modern, with a bath and shower over. It's leasehold, with a share of freehold, and around 957 years remaining on the lease. Maintenance is approximately £1,000 to £200 per year, covering buildings insurance and communal upkeep. Pets are allowed with agreement from other owners, and standard AST rentals are permitted, though holiday lets are not. For £100,000 in a coastal Yorkshire town, with character features and a separate office, this sets a surprisingly solid starting point. Second property. For the next home, we're moving right up to Queen's Parade, in Scarborough. Guide price £100,000 again. One bedroom, around 498 square feet. And this one leans heavily into location. If the first flat offered character and a tucked-away setting, this one brings the sea directly into the conversation. The open-plan kitchen and living area sits at the front, with a bay window framing views across North Bay. That coastal outlook isn't subtle. It becomes part of the room. The kitchen has plenty of storage and workspace, so it functions properly, rather than feeling like an afterthought squeezed into a corner. The bedroom sits to the rear, which means quieter positioning away from the main road. And here's the added detail that makes this listing stand out. A private balcony, not shared, not communal, your own small outdoor space to step out, catch the air, and reset. The bathroom is modern and cleanly finished, tying everything together without feeling dated. Location-wise, Queen's Parade sits along Blenheim Terrace, one of the more desirable coastal stretches in Scarborough. You're within walking distance of the beach, Peaceholland Park, the open-air theatre, cafes, restaurants, and the town centre. Train links are also accessible, which quietly boosts long-term value. Now let's talk numbers properly. Leasehold with approximately 982 years remaining. Service charge sits at £637 per year, which is relatively modest. Council tax band A keeps running costs low. For investors, the agent suggests potential rental income of around £675 per month. On a £100,000 purchase, that projects an approximate gross yield of 8%. Of course, actual returns depend on management and demand, but it gives context. 2 Scarborough flats, same headline price, completely different feel. And as we move further across Yorkshire, the pricing structure starts to shift again. Third property. Next up, we head to Whitby, Prospect Hill, £100,000. And this one immediately stands out for a simple reason. 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. At that price point, that combination isn't common, especially in a coastal town with Whitby's reputation. The flat measures around 714 square feet, which works out at roughly £140 per square foot. For context, that's lower than many comparable seaside markets. Inside, there's an open-plan kitchen and living space forming the heart of the property. Integrated appliances are already in place, laminate flooring keeps it low maintenance, and a fireplace feature adds a bit of warmth to the main room. The bedroom setup is flexible, 1 king-size room and 1 single. That could suit a small family, a couple needing office space, or even a rental configuration. Having 2 bathrooms changes the dynamic completely. It adds convenience for shared living or guests. And from an investment perspective, that detail alone can increase appeal. There's also off-street parking included, which in Whitby is far from insignificant. During busy seasons, parking pressure builds quickly, so having allocated space matters. The lease reportedly runs for around 968 years remaining, so long-term security isn't an issue. Flood risk is noted as very low, which in coastal areas is always worth checking. Location-wise, Whitby town centre sits within walking distance. Shops, cafes, restaurants, and the harbour are all close by. The train station is around 0.3 miles away, with Russwarp and Slights also within short distance. So at £100,000, this isn't our tiny one-bed compromise. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom flat in a well-known North Yorkshire coastal town, priced at a surprisingly modest level per square foot. Fourth property. For next house, we are going back in Scarborough, but this time it's a slightly different property. Albion Road. Asking price £100,000, 2 bedrooms, and notably, freehold. That alone makes this stand out. Most flats at this level are leasehold. Here, ownership is more straightforward. This is a first-floor flat located on the south cliff side of Scarborough, placing you within walking distance of South Bay and the town centre. It's a location that works for both permanent residents and long-term tenants. Inside, the living room is fronted by a large bay window, which brings in plenty of natural light. That detail gives the main space a brighter, more open feel than the square footage alone might suggest. The main bedroom has enough room for a king-sized bed, plus additional furniture. The second bedroom offers flexibility. It could serve as a guest room, child's room, or home office. The property also includes a spacious dining kitchen rather than a compact galley setup, along with a separate utility area. That extra practical space adds usability. There's a modern shower room already in place, so from a condition standpoint, it isn't a heavy renovation project. Now here's the important part. The property is being sold with a tenant in situ. The current rent is £475 per calendar month. That makes it more aligned with investors than owner-occupiers, at least initially. Based on the asking price, it presents a modest entry-level buy-to-let option in a coastal market with consistent rental demand. At £100,000 for a freehold, 2-bedroom flat in a South Cliff location, this home feels positioned more as a numbers play than a lifestyle purchase. And as we continue, the pricing landscape shifts once again. Fifth property. For this one, the price dips under £90,000. Esplanade Gardens. Asking price £87,500, 2 bedrooms, ground floor, and positioned on South Cliff. That location matters. The Esplanade area gives you access to the South Bay, the Italian Gardens, the spa complex, Rams Hill shops, the golf course, and the town centre, all within walking distance. It's one of the more recognisable stretches of Scarborough. Inside, the apartment has recently been neutrally redecorated, so it feels clean and ready rather than dated. Access is through a secure communal entrance with telecom system, and the shared areas are described as well kept. The living room stretches over 21 feet in length, which is longer than many flats at this level. A large front-facing window brings in natural light, and the space opens through into the kitchen. That slight openness makes it feel less compartmentalised. The kitchen itself measures just over 10 feet by 8. It includes wood effect wall and base units, tiled splashbacks, built-in electric oven, gas hob, and space for a fridge, freezer, and washing machine. Bedroom 1 sits at nearly 14 feet in height length with built-in storage. Bedroom 2 is smaller and positioned internally, with an inner glazed window to the communal hall. It's usable, but likely better suited as a guest room or study rather than a primary sleeping space. The shower room includes a step-in shower cubicle, wash basin, WC, tiled walls, and ladder-style towel radiator. Now the numbers. It's leasehold. Council tax band B, E, PC rating C, which is stronger than some of the earlier listings and suggests reasonable energy efficiency. Flood risk is noted as very low from rivers and low for surface water, which is relevant in coastal areas. At £87,500, this isn't a sea view balcony apartment. It's not flashy, but it is a 2-bedroom ground floor flat in a well-known South Cliff position, redecorated and move-in ready, priced below £90,000. Sixth property. Our next house is in Mansfield, Nottinghamshire. Spindle Court, £85,000, 2 bedrooms, and currently under offer. Now, Mansfield isn't a coastal postcard town. It's more of a practical Midlands market centre, and that practicality often shows up in pricing. This is a 2-bedroom flat close to Mansfield town centre, which means shops, transport links and everyday amenities are within easy reach. It's not remote, it's positioned for convenience. Inside the layout is beautiful. You enter through a hallway with intercom access and a storage cupboard. The kitchen measures just under 9.5 feet by 6, fitted with wall and base units, built-in oven, gas hob with extractor, and space for a washing machine and fridge. It's compact but functional. The lounge stretches over 15 feet in length and includes an electric fire with surround and a Juliet balcony to the front elevation. That small balcony detail adds light and airflow, even if it's not a full outdoor space. Bedroom 1 is a comfortable size, with built-in wardrobes and a rear-facing window. Bedroom 2 is smaller but usable, likely suited to a child's room, guest room or home office. The bathroom includes a bath with shower over, WC and pedestal basin. Outside, there's a has one allocated parking space, which simplifies things day to day. Now the numbers. Council tax sits at band A, EPC rating is C, which is solid in terms of energy efficiency. The lease was originally 125 years from July 2003, with approximately 102 years remaining. Ground rent is £150 per year. At £85,000 for a 2-bedroom flat with parking near a town centre, this becomes more of a value play than a lifestyle purchase. 7th property. This next flat is from Harrogate. Harrogate isn't typically associated with cheap. It's known for spa heritage, tidy streets, and stronger than average price tags. So seeing a guide price of £80,000 here does make you pause. Woodfield Road, 1 bedroom, 1st floor flat. The layout is simple. A fitted kitchen, a lounge dining area, a shower room and a double bedroom. The key thing in this listing is that it needs a cosmetic touch. So think redecorating, maybe flooring updates, possibly kitchen or bathroom refinements over time. That said, there are some recent improvements already done. A new roof has been fitted and the windows were replaced with double glazing in 2024. Those are significant expenses that a buyer won't need to worry about immediately. Outside, there's a lawned area and a brick-built storage shed, which is useful for bikes or outdoor gear. Not glamorous, but practical. Location is where this really becomes interesting. Woodfield Road sits in a popular residential area with access to Harrogate's town centre, local shops and transport links. Regular trains run to Leeds and York, which makes it appealing for commuters or renters needing connectivity. Now it's leasehold with around 101 years remaining. Council tax is band A. So no, this isn't a polished show home in central Harrogate. But at £80,000, in a town that rarely dips into this bracket, it represents something unusual, a lower entry point into a market that typically sits higher. 8th property, Scarborough. Next, we're heading back to Scarborough again, but this time the price drops even further. Albemarle Crescent, guide price £75,000, 1 bedroom, ground floor, and right in the centre of town. This is very much a location play. You're a short walk from shops, transport links and the seafront. No need for a car if you don't want one. Everything sits within easy reach. Inside, the living room measures over 16 feet in length at its widest point, which gives it a bit more breathing room than you might expect at this level. The kitchen is compact but separate, and there's even a small utility area tucked alongside it. That extra storage and appliance space helps keep the main rooms uncluttered. The bedroom is a solid double, stretching to around 14 feet in one direction, so it doesn't feel like a squeezed-in compromise. The finkid bathroom includes a bath, water cabinet and basin, keeping it practical for both owners and tenants. Now the structure of the deal is where this one becomes interesting. It's leasehold with approximately 978 years remaining, which is effectively long-term security. Maintenance is listed at around £480 per year, which is relatively modest. Pets are allowed, standard AST rentals are allowed, and notably, holiday lets are also permitted, subject to contract verification. That flexibility changes the appeal entirely. You could treat this as a long-term rental, a short-stay holiday base, or even a simple town centre crash pad. At £75,000 for a ground floor flat in central Scarborough with broad letting permissions, this feels positioned squarely at investors or buyers looking for low entry costs. Ninth property. This next place I'm going to show you is in Bedford Street. Starting bid £75,000, 2 bedrooms. Now this isn't a tidy, move-in ready flat. It's a house that needs full refurbishment. And that's exactly why it's sitting at this level. The layout is straightforward. Living room to the front measuring just over 10 by 11 feet. A separate dining room behind it. A compact kitchen at the rear. Upstairs, 2 bedrooms and a bathroom. There's also a loft space measuring over 16 feet in length, which adds further potential, subject to permissions and structural assessment. But the key thing here is potential. The property is described as being in need of refurbishment throughout, so buyers should expect updating across most areas. Kitchen, bathroom, decor, possibly systems. It's not cosmetic touch-up territory, it's more of a project. This one is being sold via online auction, either under conditional or traditional terms. There's a non-refundable deposit of 5% of the purchase price due on exchange. On top of that, a reservation fee of up to 6% including VAT applies, subject to a minimum that could reach £7,200. Buyers must also complete identity verification under anti-money laundering procedures. So the headline £75,000 is the starting point, not necessarily the final figure. That said, for someone experienced in renovation, this is the kind of property that can create value. 2 bedrooms, central Scarborough location, close to amenities and transport links. Once modernised, it could serve as a rental, resale, or even a compact coastal home. This isn't the easiest listing on the list. But in terms of raw entry price for a 2-bedroom house in a seaside town, it sits at a level that's hard to ignore, and we're now approaching the very bottom end of our Yorkshire affordability scale. 10th property, and now we reach the lowest headline price on this list. Northallerton, Sparrow Way, £51,400. At first glance, that figure almost looks like a typo for a 3-bedroom house. But this is shared ownership. The £51,400 represents a 20% share of the full property. The home itself is part of the Kingsbrook development and was built by Persimmon, so you're looking at a relatively modern build rather than an older renovation project. From the outside, it presents as a tidy end of terrace with off-street parking and an enclosed rear garden. There's even an open outlook toward fields and countryside, which adds a bit of breathing space. Inside, the layout follows a practical family format. A spacious living room sits at the front, offering a comfortable everyday space. To the rear, there's a kitchen diner with contemporary finishes and enough room for proper family meals rather than a squeezed-in table. A downstairs WC adds convenience. Upstairs, there are 3 bedrooms. Not 2 and a token box room, but 3 usable spaces. The family bathroom is modern and functional, keeping everything straightforward. Now the structure matters here. This property is available through a shared ownership scheme via 13 Group. At £51,400, you're purchasing a 20% share. On the remaining 80%, rent is payable at approximately £470 and 70p per month. There will also be service charges and leasehold conditions to confirm directly with the agent. Council tax sits at Band C. Tenure is leasehold. So no, this isn't a £51,400 freehold house outright. But as an entry point into a 3-bedroom home in North Yorkshire, with parking, garden and countryside outlook, it represents one of the lowest buy-in figures on this list. And that's the full range, from coastal flats at £100,000, all the way down to a 3-bedroom shared ownership home with a buy-in just over £51,000. Not every property here is perfect. Some need work, some come with leasehold or auction conditions, but affordable options are still out there if you're willing to dig a little deeper. If one of these surprised you, let me know which one stood out the most, and I'll see you in the next video.